or I don't know what's going to. For those of you who are new, I'm Yildiz, here to do your twin flame reading. Should the reception on this video work, if there's echoing, it's because I'm in my dining room / kitchen. Is it working, guys? Is the frequency better? Jen's going to be laughing at my paleness. I'm very low in iron due to my Ascension symptoms. Sounds good. I'm not surprised this room's echoing. How are we all anyway? Is it cutting in and out, or is it okay? Hi, Wendy. The joy. Perfect. No wind, that's why. Well, it's just as well because we're into winter, but there's no winter symptoms right now. It's a bit like us at the moment, isn't it? Ironic symptoms. So, I'll wait for a few people to get on and then I'll start the reading for the twin flame. Now, I'll just touch base with a few of you. You woke up nervous. Yes, well, for those of you on the manifestation level, I'll get back to the nervousness because that is pretty common. Yes, it's a very unusual feeling. Thanks, Laurie. It's a very unusual feeling. There's a great deal of unease in the air. It's almost like, depending on where you are, which way between you are, which again, you know, you can do research connected to it, which way between, it comes down to your age bracket, you know, the path of what you've taken, whether it be long or short, it doesn't really matter. A lot of us are having symptoms at the moment of ascension. I'm glad the connection's good. It's about time. It's been driving me crazy. So a lot of us do need to pay very close attention to our intuition. Now, it's always get feminines in general, and this may be masculines as well, where you're coming to a place and you're saying, do I trust my intuition? Yes, and if you need to, you can get confirmation for that. You can get it from your guides, you can get it from your visual signs, but you need to know how to put 2 and 2 together. And if it's really nagging at you, a lot of twins at the moment, yes, definitely, with the Ascension, look, a lot of people have been getting very unusual symptoms, which are common, but it depends on, you know, how familiar you are with aspects of the symptoms of Ascension. Now, a lot of downloads have been coming to me in a sense of where all this started from, why this all started, because I think we're focusing too much on twin and not what the path is or where the root of it all came about, so to speak. And really, a lot of the literature that I added onto my Facebook page are things that I come across a while ago, and that's why I added them onto the Facebook psychic page for you guys to read, to get you guys a bit, you know, you research and you look at it of what you're collecting out of the information there. Now, there's lots of, you know, aspects that were coming through to me, back to Adam and Eve, back to definitely connections to pyramids and other things. But I mean, that aside, you know, a lot of things that are coming through are the Ascension symptoms, which is the heaviest right now. Now, many of you would just out of nowhere want to go to sleep, which is really strange for me because I deem myself as ADHD, so I'm always hyperactive. So for me to need to have a nap in the afternoon is out of the ordinary for me. That's just not me. It's definitely killed my iron. Hi, Stefan, how are you? Look, there's been nausea, fatigue, appetite change. It can be from hunger to really going off your food altogether, dizzy spells, ringing in your ears, your body vibrating differently, pains in different areas that you hadn't experienced. It can be body aches and pains, a bit like flu-like symptoms coming through, and waves of emotions. So a lot of the energy you're feeling is joint and separate. So even to the point where, throat issues going on. Some people have been experiencing like liquid coming from the ears. It's very strange kind of ailments coming through in your body. I can actually say for me physically, I've had toothaches, earaches, headaches, neck aches, body aches and pains, fatigue, hunger, and then no hunger, sinus related dynamics. And I mean, it's been insane, really. And for me, yes, they would, Wendy. They would get the same symptoms. But a lot of what feminine will be receiving, because where you are in your path, depending on which wave you are, you may be further ahead. So ironically, some of the symptoms are yours, some of the symptoms are what you're receiving from twin. So it could be that you're receiving their ailment, so to speak. And it's a bit like, it's the aspect of empath. So, the connections into each other are, you pick up vibes. It's a bit like two children that are twins. You sense that. When you're an empath, you can directly tune into other people around you as well. With twin, it's strong regardless of being with them or not. It's directly connected, so you are intuitively connected into that level where it is like you have a physical psychic gift. So all of a sudden you might be getting a vibration or a feeling and you're going, oh, there's something going on there. Definitely a lot of their symptoms might be flu-like symptoms, or it may be that they're getting, headaches and nausea and neck aches. Definitely, thinking really with their third eye, trying to intuitively work out what they're going to do. What else? Panic attacks, which is a very interesting one for me that's come through lately, which is very unusual for me. Where just out of nowhere, just this very super anxious energy, and trying to pinpoint where that energy is coming from, whether it's your energy, because that's the aspect of being psychic and an empath, that you pick up on these vibrations. Sometimes it can be when I'm tuning into the person who's coming on board and going to talk to me. But really, yeah, chest related areas where, it's felt very suppressed, like we're being squeezed. Again, a lot is going on when it comes to our direct downloads and how we are actually changing, so to speak. The way I would probably describe it is obviously all of those, as well as like we're shedding skin, because we are no longer the same. Yeah, sort of like an asthma attack, but it's very heavy. It's almost like someone's sitting on your chest. It's to the point similar to an anxiety attack. At the same way as like a very heavy energy being on your chest, like it's being pushed. So very strange kind of, energy in it. What else have I been picking? But definitely the anxiety related energies coming through are very interesting energies, because for a time you'll go through a stage where you won't physically be sensing anything. Then out of the blue, you'll be kind of picking up on these vibrations. Now, a lot connected to ego has been coming through as well, and I did talk about that briefly in a comical sense, with Mark. And that was the strange situations going on of our trigger points, of almost like with the tower events that we've been having. This strange energy has been the shadow period, in the aftermath of the retrograde, the period that we just moved through. It's almost heavier than what it was that entire time, but different. So again, it can be affecting your technology, which I'm experiencing, but that's quite common for psychics as well. So it can be, your vehicles start having problems, your telephones, your electronic devices needing to log in, all different things like that, which is super frustrating. But it's almost like a lot of feminines and masculines will be, and people collectively as a whole that are kind of having this ascension, you know, money's going to be removed. Suddenly you may go into hermit mode and then get to a point where you feel aspects of your control are taken away from you. Now, again, yes, it's directly connected to the planets, but it's also connected to your healing process, because if you had those things available to you, you wouldn't be doing the work. So universe removes it, so you physically have to go into hermit mode to deal with the aspects of what's going on. Now, many of us would have used band-aids to prevent ourselves from doing those things. So that can be, again, you know, the avoidance and trying to keep busy. And suddenly your body will get tired. You'll go into shutdown mode. You'll wake up again, and then you'll be back up in your emotions. So you may have a day where you're feeling pretty cruisy, and then another day where you're like, oh my God, what is going on here? This is horrendous. So the highs and lows. Look, and again, I have had many clients come through, really getting to the point where they're saying, good God, you know, I could pretty much go. I'm done with the journey, with Ascension. I don't think I can make it. And that's a very real energy. So we need to be very cautious about the aspect of quitting, because it is like the dark night of the soul. It is like we're going into that dark abyss of everything that has, you know, held us back. And it's like, I explained it to a lady the other day where divine feminines and masculines would be the same. You know, you're getting up and, you know, you've fallen over. Your family teaches you to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep going. The reality is, in doing that, you bottle those emotions up after a while to a point that it looks like a swimming pool or an ocean. And, you know, and at some point, a bit like a needle in the haystack, it's just that one bit too much. So your aggression can come through, your frustration, your ability to cope with any extra than you physically do is just done. So this retrograde process, although everyone's going, when's it going to end? Well, I get you. You know, we're all in it ourselves. The ones that are going through this ascension process, we're really guided to not run. And it's a bit like the movie I was telling you guys about, where you're physically in, oh, what was it called? I've forgotten the name of it now. It's kind of gone from my mind. Event Horizon. You're in the ship and your greatest fear is there, and you need to confront it face on. And it can be the most horrendous thing to actually physically look at. A lot of us are going way back down memory lane. 2 points connected to the energies of failures, choices, roads, share frustration. Look, it's all very personal and private connected, but it's from your spiritual path of what you've been going through. It's your life history of where hurts live. But there's no longer any room. It's a bit like a hard drive computer. It needs rebooting, which is a huge metaphor, because ultimately speaking, every aspect of technology is being a real jerk for me at the moment. So it's like you need to just fine tune everything, start from scratch, towers come down, picking the pieces up. But again, it isn't a punishment. It's if you can be strong enough to face your fears and realize where you have, you know, in a way controlled certain things to manage it instead of dealing with it, that's where you're being forced to remove that aspect of things, because you've outgrown the way of doing that. So you need to physically outgrow it, purge it, and deal with it head on. I mean, my father said to me, as I said in a previous video years ago, that's it, I'm going to move to Europe, I've had enough. And I laughed, and it was because you can't run from your problems. You know, you actually do need to stop and face it head on. And many of you, that might be directly connected to your twin, where you fear that aspect of rejection, or have physically been rejected, or have been, you know, in some shape or form. But to be free, no matter what you choose in your path, you directly have to face those aspects of your fears, and really confront it head on, stand in your power, and just be yourself. That's all you can be. But face the new self that you have become, because you have shed that skin. A lot of the times when you've evolved, what happens is your soul has moved, your body's trying to catch up. So you need to give it that time for it to catch up, to merge and be connected. And that is the same in the twin flame connection. Very much at the moment, a lot of people have been questioning their path, have been questioning whether twin is twin, whether, you know, the whole saga of divine timing comes into play, you know, and people not liking, especially when that card comes up or that term comes up, divine timing. But when you look at the bigger picture, you know, with the chaos that has transpired, would it have been a perfect time for that to transpire? Probably not, when you think about it, because a lot of this is very deep and personal, some of it directly connected to twin, but some of it very, very much connected to you. So in order for you to change, where you can have a positive relationship of any degree, be it with twin, a soulmate, or if you choose a karmic, um, you need to come to that place where you're away from the chaos. Yeah. But it's not to say that you need to come to a perfect place. It's about the fact that, you know, the veil is being taken down. And it's a bit like the deception card. I was meditating on this the other day, and I thought it was really ironic because, you know, lots of terms are being connected to the veil being dropped. Now, the veil is, we have a veil as well. What face we show to the world, how we deal with our adversity, how we get triggered, the mask that we put on to protect ourselves. That might be going into hermit mode. And at the moment, yes, many of us are guided to, but we're also guided to have courage, to have faith in the process and know that it's divinely guided. Many feminines have had blind faith for however long your path has been, connected to your life, connected to your abilities, trying to search for those abilities through the situation, and having to come to a place where you've really gone inside yourself to find those tools because you haven't had maybe, you know, assistance from people around you, and had that whole aspect of being left out in the cold. So you've had to be incredibly creative. Moving out of this energy, and through it, what you're going to find is the tools that you have are huge. One feminine come through, and this is for masculines and feminines. You know, it's not just the feminines. And we don't tend to, you know, I don't tend to mention twin is twin. We hold both energies. We hold masculine energy and feminine energy. So ultimately speaking, we both hold the same situations and fears. We just deal with them differently. Um, we will always have that swap where we will sort of mirror our twin in a way, where if we are not wanting to look at things and deal with things in a certain way, we will start doing similar things to them so that we can be empathically connected to what they've gone through. And I know personally speaking, there was a whole swap in my dynamic where a lot of ways of living I physically lived, and then it was swapped so that we could have that kind of understanding, you know, of how both were walking in life. Masculine energies predominantly in the initial stages may have been really not wanting huge deep connections, but again, the feminines had been wanting it, yet wanting it for a different reason. Probably because mother and father, you know, didn't give what they thought or what we thought was required or needed. So we sought that inside other human beings, be it external people, filling that void, and then at some point twin, which was a huge responsibility for them to carry because we were in that aspect of, it wasn't, I wouldn't say it's ego, I would say it was expectation. And that was a very heavy thing. That is not a smooth kind of way of being, and twin doesn't allow that. That energy of twin does not allow that paradigm. So Masculine then retreated, and feminine then had to step into her energy and own her aspects to remove those aspects of codependency. So where we've come to now is processing all of where we've been on the journey, whoever you are, however far and long this journey has been. Now, lots of psychoanalyzing might have been coming through this time as well. And again, if you're guided not to do that, you may become fatigued suddenly and go to bed. And that's divinely guided too, and that's to remove it. And like I said, it is a bit like realizing it's pointless going over it in your mind, because what you've learned are the tools inside you. But going over it is almost blocking it, because it's showing you in the mirror that you have not dealt with it. So if it means you get a song and it comes on the radio and it makes you cry, you need to delve into that emotion and you need to let that come up, to purge it and let it go. Because the more you do that, and I'm not saying sit there for a month and cry your socks off, snap out of it, get back to business. Don't do it on purpose. I mean, if you're guided to, 100%. But if a trigger point comes up, directly deal with it, and then stop, have that aspect of being aware, and sit back and actually jump back to where the first point of the trigger come from to release it. You're also guided to use your chakra salts, chakra cleansing music. There's twin flame meditation music on there. But when you're doing the purging, you're better off to focus on self, not the path, not how you're going to get from A to B. A lot of what feminines are needing to do during this full moon cycle coming through and the manifestation that we're going to have, you need to start looking at your 3D life and say, okay, right, where do I have control in my world? What do I need to do? Now, this can be tying up loose ends. It can be your paperwork. When you've got the energy, you need to really, really use it, because you're going to have the highs and lows, and change is coming. It is very difficult this month to get that done. So when you are having that influx of energy, get on it right away and do what you need to do to get those tasks done. It is divinely guided with that. So when you've got the quiet and you don't perhaps have as much work, or don't perhaps have as much contact with the outside world, get your house in order, get your life in order. Focus on what you're wanting to do for your future. Stop focusing externally. If you stop and actually look at what you had not been dealing with, because you have been giving your power away and focusing on one energy so much, and it's not to say that you're not going to do that, getting your energy back where you're focusing on yourself is moving you forward, and that is attractive. And it's not just the aspect of the external of what another thinks. It's more to do with you being secure, safe, being able to manifest your future and co-create something that you're passionate about. Okay, so a lot of times when we are in a 3D relationship, when I say 3D, I mean a traditional style relationship, you know what to expect. But the aspect of being a twin brings things at left field. So we do need to be very self-reliant, and responsible for our own energy, to the point where we realize no woman or no man is an island. And if you cannot fulfill yourself, how in a twin connection will it ever come into union? For those of you who are wanting that path, if you want that to happen, yes, it is connected to you meeting, dealing, growing on a path, but it's also connected to you owning your power and not giving your power away to a point where you're thinking that they can solve your life or solve your problems. If that comes about, that's old ways of doing things, the union will not come, because you've missed the point of what the process of that situation is. And, for the younger ones that are coming through, That takes a while to get there, but they can learn from the first and the second waves, and it will smooth out better for them in their connection. Standing in your power takes away excuses. Yeah, and it's hard. Sometimes we do sit there and we're looking at our 3D life. I mean, I know a lot of people where, hey, I've been left out in the cold. I've been in situations where it was during a recession. I was at my mother's house. I'd left nursing and I was like, wow, I've done 20 years of this. And I absolutely love it, but I was getting tired. I was a single parent and I was like, what am I going to do? And it was just one day I woke up and I was applying for different jobs and I had experience in different areas just to have something different. And it was like, right, no choice. You need to go back. And I did. And I did end up getting myself up, getting a house, and it flowed. But it takes courage because you're looking at it and you might not want to do certain things, but look at it in terms of maybe it's a temporary situation to get you to the more positive situation. So even in an aspect of ego, which is where we are, and you're saying, yeah, but that's below me, or wow, that's above me. What do you need to do to see the bigger picture in mind to get to the other side? Be that getting a job, be that, getting to a place where you see the end goal at the end of the tunnel, and start doing that work, but not sitting there hoping for universe to come to you. I mean, universe has come to you. Universe has said, well, hey, you put the signal out that you want to change, and now we've given it to you, but it doesn't particularly look the way you were thinking it was going to look. It's not like going to be handed to us on a golden platter. I mean, that is not about spiritual growth. It is very much about the fact that the good, the bad, and the ugly comes your way. And very much in January, that's how we were feeling. We were coming in thinking, oh, what's going on? I can't really sense anything. And when you're a twin or spiritual, you sense energy. And when you sense it, you feel semi prepared. January really didn't make anyone feel prepared. And a lot of the energies of the way I was doing the readings was very much coming through in a singular energy because we needed to do the internal work. It wasn't that you weren't going to have connections. It was that you need to shift the focus back onto self to a point where you can become whole again to even be able to give anything. But it isn't an aspect of, at the moment, many of us can be in ego thinking we need twin, but we don't need twin. But that's old ways of thinking. Would want twin, not we would need twin. To need, they will retreat. That's just not, it's not the connection of that connection. So it's needy. It is picking up pace, and there is something coming at left field for us, which we do need to intuitively, and most of you will have this kind of vibe that something's coming. Now, something is coming out of left field. Now, there is hidden aspects. There's hidden aspects coming through. It's not going to be anything you expect, and for all of you, it's going to be incredibly different, but you are guided to follow your intuition. Some things are very much hidden, and it is going to be a surprise, and it will be the balance of yin and yang. So it's going to be good and bad, but it is what it is. So use your intuition connected to it. Be super aware. Be that on your level of security, be that on your intuition connected, yes, again, to your synchronicities, and just get to a point where you follow your gut. A lot of us have had that issue where we have not been following our intuition. And because of the twin flame journey, maybe with some adversity coming through, it's triggered us to really question our third eye. Okay? But you need to get back to that because the vibration you're picking is correct. There is something that's changing. That's where the panic attacks are coming from, because we are intuitively connecting in with something that is coming. Now, whatever that is, you need to know that you do have the tools to be able to handle this. You need to try and look at the other side. No, I'm not American. You need to look at the other side. So you need to keep grounded, be aware of your surroundings at all times. If you vibrationally do not feel great, stay in hermit mode. Don't go out, because you're going to attract that same energy, which I've come to learn, as well as Jen has mentioned, and some of her friends as well. And that's just the way it goes. If you're really down, you're going to attract, like, if you're super up, you're going to attract like-minded people, but you're going to have to go with the flow with your energy. So you're going to have great days, you're going to have bad days. That's an aspect of being in tune to self. Some of us have been having highs and lows in a sense of your anger. Some people have had excessive desire to a lack of. Some of us have been really wanting to control that path, but many of us who are closer to that change and connection have let go of those aspects, almost to the point where we're saying, you know what, I'm releasing control. I'm so tired. Ego's dying. Life is going to be what it's going to be. Some people have actually mentioned wanting to quit in this journey. A lot of fears have been coming up connected to intuition, or almost like comparing situations to, okay, it's and this is a funny one. Almost like you'll get to a point, you'll look at your twin flame path, and then you'll look at it and you'll go, in the real world, I wouldn't even look at this situation. And then you go back to the 5D and you're like, unconditional love. So it's really strange. It's almost like the Libran scales, where you're going, that doesn't look so good. And then you're up here going, I totally compassionately understand. So try not to get up in your head about that too much. You are processing. Yes, we are 3D vessels, but we are 5D souls. Okay, that's where we're at. We're jumping the scales. So you are going to be experiencing the dizziness, the fatigue, the nausea, a bit like coming up out of the ocean and you're coming up too fast and you got the bends. So just get that that's what's going on, and try not to think you're going too crazy, because it's why it's happening. So yes, we're all going through that, where we're going, wow, you know, why would I accept that? And then all the way to the top and you go, I totally understand, you know. A lot of cards have been coming through to me in a sense of download as well. The card where the man's lying and he's got the swords coming down. And, you know, it's that aspect of the pain is heart-wrenching. But that pain is almost pinpointing every chakra. And it's being cleared. The pain from each chakra is being cleared for the ascension process. This is really connected to masculine energy. This is what I'm saying. They very much can be at times very fatigued. They're very driven, but then at other times they're fatigued again. So we're picking up their energy field. Now, when they're down, I'm seeing during their sleeping hours, they're actually in dream state. They might be entering your dreams. They also have been seeing visions directly connected to passed over loved ones and energies protecting them, but they're not maybe understanding that that's what it is. There's also aspects of their chakras being cleared, and they can have body-related symptoms going on that is making them quite unwell. Now, feminines might receive these energies of what masculine's going through. And I do feel maybe energetically you might hear something had happened to masculine, but they're okay. Does that make sense? It's like some aspect of either a trigger point or some news or something hidden. It's like something has been going on that you have been blinded to at this point. But definitely the card, you know, with the daggers in it, I keep seeing that. But there is definite changes happening with that connection. I do feel there is changes for probably the first and the second wave of twins. Definitely within communication might start coming in for many of you. I do feel many of you had times where, cool, Michelle. I definitely feel many of you need to understand this is a process. You know, when you are, and that'll be right, it's got to jump down there. It's a bit light, twin. Go on, go get it. Really? This card seems rather sarcastic to me. New vitality. Oh boy. Okay, back to where my mind was. Many are going to get connections. So it's going to be either you're going to get downloads with your dreams. Pay attention to your dreams, because inside them is almost like messages that have been unspoken, or it can be your mindset to process and understand what's being sent. And it may not be that they know that they've sent it, but they're thinking it, or they're dealing with something and you receive it in dream sense. There is movement happening though. Now, this can be anywhere from within weeks to 4 months for many of you. They do say by 2021, I believe. But I'm feeling a very heavy energy that shift is coming. Now, when you have connection, it doesn't mean you smack bang in union. It can mean you're commencing that process. But you need to be open. You may not have a choice whether you do or don't want to be open. It's going to be what it's going to be. It's guided. But I do feel movement. Movement is coming. Something is coming. Yeah, there is change. Another way you'll know is you'll be extremely busy. It'll be like you're preparing for an apocalypse, for change. That directly is a sign. Okay. Masculine's working on energies of trying to come into mastering their power, their mind and their body and their spirit. They are protecting their heart chakra. But they're coming to the core point of what's in their heart. Having a realization, and it can be connected to feminine, because feminine's got heart chakra in their first card, that they're thinking about where it all began, where the connection is, and how they feel. But they're wondering why their heart's so caged. They're really trying to work that out and dig back and dig deep. Some might have felt that they had like a curse on them. You know, try and white light them. Definitely try and white light them. Some may have had very toxic energies and people around them to make them feel very suppressed. But they're trying to work on how to open the heart chakra. It is growing, it's getting stronger, and they're wanting joy and stability in their life. They're trying to work on that. They're trying to provide that. It can be also that they're trying to tune into divine feminine. They are meditating quite a bit. But again, there's the heart chakra. Whatever they're going through right now, they're not having a great deal of pleasure going through that process. And they're wanting the happy times to continue. They do want to connect and embrace this connection because they believe it's a gift. Now, these changes are going to co-create a vitality and a balance within the connection. And it is the chakras, so keep clearing your chakras, keep doing the work on it. Confirmation, dreams. Pay attention to your dreams. Information's coming through them. And this is your joint energy. This is both sides. This month, there may be communication. Now, again, that can be about you both individually in your own life, speaking your truth, connected to what you want in your life. But it can be throat chakra work, and that's ironic because really my throat has been very funny lately. Very scratchy. Now, with this new vitality and the way the retrograde is going to squeeze you out to a point where you're going to be new, it's going to create a great deal of happiness. You're picking up on masculine energy. Your dreams and decisions are connected to all the work that you put in. So you've got to, keep doing the work to the point that the results are going to come. There may be a journey connected to you communicating. Clarify. They may come to you, you may go to them. It might be a journey to build back and work back to where you felt you couldn't speak your truth. So again, it can be throat chakra work. And it can be on both sides, really feeling it's inappropriate connected to a situation to not communicate your truth to other people, to self, to the external. Divine feminine, you have heart chakra. You're working on opening your heart. You're almost there. You're trying to keep up out of your head, but you're working hard at that. You're rebuilding. You've shed the skin and you're rebuilding. Anything that's fallen down, you're either using the tools and the bricks left to build, and it does take you out of nowhere. There is one more coming, but if you're strong, you're going to pass it. This is interesting. I do find for a lot of feminines, some aspects it's like you're needing to not do something. That's what I'm hearing. Because you've got soldier card in reverse. You don't have to be a fighter. You can show the soft side. And release it. Release the fight. Allow to be. Allow to flow. Allow to come. Don't worry about what in the past was not consistent. Release that energy. Because there are messages. And the message is to do that. To release ego. Because what are your darkest fears? that no transformation's coming. That no love will come. And that the pain will never end. Masculine. Okay. This card in reverse for masculines. They're not going anywhere. And they can't run from themselves. They're not wanting to let things go with the flow. Maybe they're wanting to step into their power. But some things they're not wanting to confront. And it might be you, it might be themselves. We'll clarify on those. They don't even know how to. They feel their life is upside down. They're still healing. Although they're not letting go, they're still healing. They're trying to break those shackles, but the shackles are connected to them. It can be devil energy they're trying to remove. And that would be relevant. Okay. Something in their life, and I feel this is external, is not flowing. And it's not balanced. So if they're in a connection, this is what's coming through energetically. Pull another one. How do they feel about divine feminine? That's your part of their path. Okay. So they're resting and trying to work out what to do from here. And although they don't know how to, there will be success. Between you, you're waiting for these dreams to come true. Internally, singularly, and jointly, you're trying to seek the truth. And again, on top of the throat chakra and the journey card, you're going to hear something. Feminines are taking the lead. Although there was something I did listen to, and you need to remember to keep your frequency up. There was one notion connected to while our vibration's down and we're purging, our frequency is lower than masculines. If masculine's physically healing and you're trying to help masculine heal, vibrationally speaking, you need to get your vibration back up. So try and do the chakra clearing, the bath salts, you know, when you can get things done, get them done. Try and keep as grounded as possible and do manifest your highest intentions, not your lowest vibration, for whatever you want in your life. Okay, come out of the sadness and the isolation, and that is what's happening for you guys. Just be in a vibration of unconditional love to everyone. They're going through it. Okay. Okay, they've got this card in reverse. They've actually learnt something. They're trusting. They're at point 0. And they're choosing their battles wisely. They're walking away from what doesn't serve them, and they're choosing their battles wisely. It may be that they're not fighting the truth. And it's almost like when you look at the card, it's almost like their self-talk. They're not fighting a self-talk no more, because the little voice is louder than the big voices. Not fair. Family is very problematic for them at the moment. They are trying to take the lead in their life. This is how they're moving forward. Their base chakra needs work. So as you clear yours, you can meditate and help them clear theirs. The healing cannot begin till they deal with their family-related issues. And it can be they're tying up loose ends. You don't need to look for anything feminine. It's right in front of you. What you need to do is right in front of you. Love will come. Love will be balanced. And it's asking you not to detach, to stay grounded and be open and receptive. One more. Don't even know what the time is. Okay. Divine union on the masculine side. But again, this is a process, remember. No set date, no set time. They're moving out of the helpless energy. Sacral chakra. Divine feminine, you will not see this coming. You do believe. And it will take your breath away. Third eye work. May is challenging. Like we didn't know that. Any questions, guys? No questions? That's okay, Laurie. Anytime. Good luck, Lily. The anxiety attacks. You can be picking up on twin energy. It can also be connected to the Ascension. But I think it's because we're actually tuned into a frequency of what is coming and what is changing. So we're intuitively picking something up. I'd have to tune into that a bit more, Dale. You may find closer to the full moon, he might visit you. Yes, it will help manifest. If you keep yourself as grounded as possible, that's when you're able to actually do the manifesting. But try and keep it at a very positive level. It can be a synchronicity of different dates. The dates can be connected to twin as well. They can be aspects of your affairs, Libra and Chick. But if they've done that already, it might be something you've already purged. Be super careful about your affairs and release them, because you will manifest them, trust me. Any other questions at 1 o'clock in the morning as I go to bed? It's probably 2. What time is it? 20 past 1. Because we're purging at the moment, Laura, so you will feel detached at the moment to do your own personal work for spiritual growth. That's part of the Ascension symptoms, Eleanor. There can be rashes connected to the Ascension. The 111, the 222, it is all connected to yes, you're on the correct path. Yes, you're a twin. And yes, it's divinely guided. If they've retreated, you need to let them go. That's part of the process. The more you go with the flow with that, the more success you will have, because generally there's things you need to do in your own life. Any other questions? I will when I get to bed. I'll have hot chocolate first. Yeah, it is an emotional roller coaster. You will have your highs and lows. You just got to go through it. Look, for me, in my journey where I'm at, I do believe in texts. They do actually describe it to the point where you have no expectation. And that's really vibrationally where you need to get to, where you just release. And trust me, I'm still working on that. But you don't have to be with twin. You can choose and want to be with twin. That's why you need to get to that vibration. And that's when you're passing those tests, because but that's not to say I won't have more, and what they'll be depends on where my blocks lay. I'm sure I'll find some under my left toe or something. Any other questions? I am sensing very much that the weather has changed as well. We're tuned into that. So panic attacks as such can be connected to disasters, cyclones, weather warnings, floods, earthquakes, unusual kind of global events. And again, the nose, so possibility. How do you? I think because when you've moved through adversity, you realize what you're worth. And when you get broken so much, you can't break anymore. Well, you can, but just not in those areas. So you do have compassion. Okay, the unconditional love comes from the aspect that you can understand why certain things happen. So, when we are out of our ego and out of that expectation of having that childlike energy of saying, but you're mine, a bit like on a wedding contract, you're mine, I own you. That energy, they're not a piece of paper, they're a human being. They're a spirit. You're a spirit, you're a soul. So if you can get to a place where you put yourself in another person's position, not just twins, another human beings, and then realize that if you had such pain that you may react in certain ways, retreat, do things that intentionally sabotage yourself, then you have that unconditional love and that compassion connected to that person. And no, it's not saying it's right, but it's looking at it from an outsider's perspective, from a in a way, it is judgment, but it's compassionate judgment, not ego-based assessment judgment, if you know what I mean. And then when you are broken, well, you can't break that area again, which is why I say be careful what you fear, because it will happen if you keep placing it out there. And then you can't get hurt in that area anymore because you had to go back, bounce back, purge it, and then come back to where you are now. And that aspect then is cried so much over, you know, burnt so much over, to the point you're squeezed out. And then you do the work inside and you fill yourself back up with positiveness. Do you know what I mean? And then it is, well, if you're at that same understanding and they've gone through what you've gone through in a different way, and you've gone through what they've gone through, you're at an understanding level, compassionately speaking. Any other questions? It is. It's pretty hardcore when you're going through it. But it can be a very freeing energy. It's quite liberating, providing that you're working with your blocks and you make it through it, you know, in one piece. Providing. Even if you are just living with a frog, which I think is quite funny because it's like, do I got to kiss a frog? Jen will laugh at that. Any other questions before I go? That's okay. If you guys are wanting a booking, I will put the link directly below after. Otherwise, they will be on the other videos. If you need an emergency booking any day of the week, inbox me and I can tee it up. What else did I need to say? If you're wanting to donate, you can go through to the website. I'm still trying to monetize my site at the moment, but with technology related situations going on and the way YouTube is, it can take a bit of time. Birthday bookings. If you have a birthday this month, I have an offer on my website which is discounted. Jump through, grab it, because it has been discounted. Anyway, love and light, guys. Good luck, and I will talk to you soon.